Hey guys, what's up? Sandu here. Today I'll be testing a very special headphone to me that I have borrowed multiple times from a good friend of mine and also from the local distributor, and I just feel it's time to have a proper review for them. All my headphones that I'm using right now are all planar magnetic headphones, and that is not because I don't like dynamic headphones or that those may be weaker in technology. That is not true. I just feel more connected to my music using my planars. I still didn't try all the dynamic headphones or all planar magnetic headphones on this planet, so I'm still open-minded, and I know that a day will come when I will listen to some dynamic headphones and I will have goosebumps all over my body as I'm having when I'm listening to Audeze LCD4. That day will surely come, but still not yet. Okay, so before I tell you about their unique skill set and their sound, let's unbox them first. Tough case. Let's open it up. Ta-da! Oh, lots of foam, as you can see, for extra protection. A really nice braided cable. I like this one, it is beautiful looking. And it also has pretty nice conductors inside. One certificate of authenticity signed by Audeze, and there is also an USB flash drive that holds the user guide, warranty information, and there is also a pair of white gloves made out of fabric in case you want to handle them like a gentleman. Here's your chance. And the headphone itself. Okay. This one is made out of ebony wood, and previous LCD4s a few years ago were made from cocobolo wood. But I think it looks very beautiful as it is. And that is basically everything you can find inside the package. In terms of build quality, I always liked the looks of the LCD line of headphones, so an all-metal wood and leather construction is impressive to touch and to look at. Even nowadays, a big competition from Asia and from Europe can't offer the same premium materials as Audeze LCD2 is having at less than $1,000. When I first tested the LCD4, it was the only headphone in the Audeze line with a much wider leather headband strap that drastically increased the comfort level. The outer headband is lightweight, it's made out of carbon fiber, and the overall structure offers a natural weight distribution that is improving the long-term comfort. As for wood caps, Audeze moved from cocobolo wood to much darker ebony wood a few years ago, just because cocobolo is an endangered wood species right now. There is a big reason why nowadays some of the best pianos, violins, violas, guitars and guitar picks, double bass and cellos fingerboards are still using ebony wood. It resonates great and it will resist a lifetime if properly maintained. LCD4 is using the sturdiest headphone connection that I know, I mean locking type mini XLR connectors, and on the other side the cable is terminated in a 1/4 inch or with 4-pin XLR jacks. The chrome grills are nice to look at, but in reality is a fingerprint magnet in the long run. As for the cable, this is a very special one, and as far as I know, only the LCD4, 4Z and 24 limited edition are using this particular cable. It features silver-plated single crystal OCC copper conductors which are cryogenically treated, and Audeze even published all its electrical specifications as resistance, capacitance and inductance. That's pretty cool. The earpads are made out of leather with lots of memory foam inside for a nice comfort level. And if you would like to have a leather-free version, you can have them if you order them directly from Audeze. There is one key aspect about this earpad that needs to be said. Since LCD4 is using the thinnest nanoscale diaphragm, which is much lighter than the air mass it moves, it was mandatory putting a small gap between the wooden cap and the earpad, otherwise the air pressure would permanently damage the headphone diaphragm. This is the sole reason LCD4 earpads are not that easy to replace, and you will need to contact Audeze support for that. In terms of technology, LCD4 is not just using big planar magnetic diaphragm, but it also uses the thinnest sub 0.5 micron diaphragm. Audeze calls it nanoscale uniforce diaphragm. And because the conductive surface of it is much thinner compared to LCD4 and LCD3, for example, LCD4 will have a much higher resistance of 200 ohms. This increase in impedance is both good and bad news. On one hand, LCD4 will have a blacker background and will not be prone to noise from the source or amplification, so the output impedance of the amplifier will be much less important. On the other hand, sensitivity dropped a lot, and LCD4 will need more power to be driven at the same SPL compared to the rest of the LCD line of headphones. LCD4 is using huge double-sided magnets in a push-pull configuration, and Audeze used them in a very special configuration that achieved a stunning magnetic flux of 1.5 Tesla. LCD4 is also using phasor elements located inside the ear cup that essentially are guiding the audio waves directly into your ears. After LCD4 was released 4 years ago, Audeze decided to incorporate these phasor elements in all the LCD line of headphones, which is really great. If you want to fully appreciate the LCD4, then you will need to understand them first. It so happens that I had them multiple times, as I told you before, and every single time they sounded quite different with the same songs. How that is even possible? That is because my acoustic chain was always changing, my tastes in music always changed, and I just feel that I never really had a proper system to fully appreciate them at their fullest. When I had the 16 kilo Audio GD Master 9 headphone amplifier, I felt that I might get pretty close to their fullest potential, but I was really not. The folks that will tell you that LCD4 is slow sounding, that doesn't have great dynamics, or it's muddy sounding, or doesn't have enough details, I will tell them back that the acoustic chain was just not up to the task, and it was just not shaking hands with LCD4. You see, this one is a very inefficient headphone, probably the most inefficient headphone that I have tried at my place. And as such, it demands a very high voltage swing because of the high impedance, but also a very high amperage number because of that planar magnetic driver is mostly current driven. So if your amplifier lacks any of that, your listening experience will be basically flawed. I know this because I have experienced this for myself, and if you offer them the cleanest possible signal from a detailed sounding DAC and then add a super clean sounding headphone amplifier that has a very powerful and robust output stage, as I mentioned before, then LCD4 will open up like a flower before the listener. About its sound signature, perhaps the most important aspect is how believable they can sound and how quickly and how easily they are disappearing from my head. So I can swear that I'm listening to a live performance in which I have absolutely the best place in the room that is perfectly centered. There are times when an audio component charms you so much that you just don't have enough words describing your feelings. You just want to lean back, relax, to listen to some music and forget about your everyday needs. So LCD4 are like disappearing from my head, pushing those acoustic waves and doing the uninterrupted work, and that naturalness they are capable of is just stunning. I find its frequency response absolutely perfect for my taste. I do like discovering new and interesting music, but I like even more rediscovering my older music which I'm listening for a lifetime. I finally felt the true meaning of a high quality bass that has multiple layers, that can move even tiny amounts of air in the room. That thump that LCD4 is capable of is just amazing, even at low listening levels. And I was impressed by my electronica, not only past 85 dB, but even at low listening levels. The enjoyment factor is just the highest I encountered in the headphone kingdom, closely followed by Quad Era 1, and then by Resistich Phobos, and then by Hi-Fi Maneria. In terms of bass, I really like a fast executed bass line. I crave for a tremendous slam in the bass, but I also love when I can hear multiple layers of it. I like it when it's undistorted even past my comfortable listening level. And if I'm talking about bass, then LCD4 showed me what it means to have a real, deep, clean and agile type of bass. So it can feel a bit incomplete with other headphones, sometimes as a single fat, dirty note. And LCD4 showed me that there are hidden subtleties not only in the treble area and in the mid-range, but especially in the bass. With LCD4 I've heard the deepest, the fastest, the most lifelike and the most breathing type of bass. I jumped over my older rave, drum and bass and all sorts of electronica because I was really curious if I would hear some additional bass layers that weren't there with my other headphones. And sure enough, I've had earthquake type of bass. I just couldn't stop from headbanging. That precise bass response was tempting me, rising the volume up. So I knew that it would damage my hearing, but what the hell, it was worth it. In terms of mid-range, do you still remember those two drum kicks at the 51-second mark on Hotel California by Eagles? Those two drum kicks can be considered as benchmarks in terms of slam and in terms of impact by today's standards. So I've heard the most detailed and the most impactful drum kick I've heard so far, as I'm hearing it for the first time, and it was simply invalid up until this point. When it comes to vocals, this is a very easy one because LCD4 offered me the most lifelike vocal performance I've had the pleasure of testing in the headphone kingdom. So all those voices sounded scary real, carried lots of air, sounded really smooth and very heavy weight. So it is a complete 100-degree turn compared to the likes of Sennheiser HD800 or Beyerdynamic T1. So overall the mid-range is sweet, is believable, is full-bodied, that carries lots of emotion. In terms of treble, first of all, LCD4 offers the most extended treble from the LCD line of headphones. So if you want to own an Audeze headphone with the most extended treble, then LCD4 it is. So I hear it quite detailed, I hear it quite transparent, I can almost touch those drums, but as much as I stress them, they offered always a very lifelike and non-aggressive type of treble. So I hear it reaching really high octaves, but it is never bothersome in the long run. And after finishing a longer rock album, I still crave for some drums and cymbals. So there is a gentle slope in the, somewhere in the lower treble that puts everything else in the spotlight. And that is the main reason why LCD4 is always full sounding, full bodied, meteor sounding all the time basically. I took a listen to Antonio Vivaldi, a bit of Beethoven, then I moved to Wagner, all of them in high resolution, and not only that this music has a legendary status, but it is also very well recorded. So with this particular music, LCD4 sounded resolving, clear, airy, had some bite and sparkle up top, but without that disturbing digitus that could ruin my listening pleasure. So I especially enjoyed Moonlight Sonata third movement with its faster tempo and heavier piano tone. I almost felt like listening to some angry metal tune with that lightning fast approach that carried just a livelier, bolder and heavier tone with every single note. In terms of transient response, I was super impressed by the Quad Era 1 and by the RZH Phobos when properly driven out of a powerful headphone amplifier. So their transient response always raised my mood levels, and when I would have just a bad day, I would just listen to those two, toy it up a bit, noddle my head with some engaging music, and I would come back out of my office with a brighter face. LCD4 trounces those two and is doing all that on a much higher level. So out of 4 headphone amplifiers, LCD4 sounded quite different and can be a chameleon in terms of speed and impact. So LCD4 was a gentle giant with an all-tube amplifier like X-Duo TA30. It was smooth all the time, offered a rounded performance that put me into a relaxed state of mind. With Kinky THR1 and with Audio GD D28, pace is improving, dynamics are hitting me harder. I finally woke up from my relaxed state, transient response improved quite a lot. The moment I connected them to the benchmark HPA4 on the 4-pin balanced connection, I felt again a massive spike in terms of speed. It sounded as the fastest headphone I had the pleasure of testing. So they transforming into some huge slam monsters carrying a tremendous impact with every note and sounding lightning quick with faster electronica. I believe that LCD4 has the fastest decay with the right setup and will impress anyone seeking slam and impact. In terms of soundstage, I feel that LCD4 is pushing more air much farther away from the listener compared to the rest of the LCD line, and when properly driven from a true dual mono headphone amplifier that has a close to zero channel crosstalk, I feel that the left to right soundstage is widening quite a lot. So LCD4 is impressing from left to right as the void space between the notes is somehow increasing, and I will just have an easier time locating every note around the room. Those notes are almost not touching each other, and when experiencing that for the first time it can be weird but pleasant nonetheless. So LCD4 is not having a super wide and fake soundstage like HD800 by Sennheiser has. So with HD800 everything is just super wide sounding, even my cozy jazz recorded in a 2x2 meter room sounds like a live performance, like a live concert. And I don't want that. I want the stage to be open and wide, only with the right music and with the right recording. And I believe that LCD4 is doing exactly that, and is doing much better than my other planar magnetic headphones. As for details and transparency, LCD4 will be showing everything is there to hear, even tiny air movements in the room. So micro details are plenty and really can't hide away from its gaze. So it's a detailed but not aggressive type of sound, and LCD4 again played like a chameleon in this department. So if you want to hide some of the imperfections of your recordings, then an all-tube design will help you with that. Even some Class A amplifiers will do that. But if you want to dissect, if you want to hear every detail, every shape, every texture, then you should really try a headphone amplifier with the THX AAA technology. So with benchmark HP for LCD4 is showing an additional layer of information compared to the other headphone amplifiers, and will probably extract the best LCD4 is capable of in terms of details and transparency. I also did some measurements for the LCD4 using a mini DSP ear system, so I will just briefly show you the raw frequency response. The total harmonic distortion is so far the lowest I have ever measured, so absolutely impressive seeing it somewhere between the 0.1 and 0.2% all the time. Another statement measurement is the spectral decay. So LCD4 is simply faster sounding than any other headphone I tried at my place. So LCD4 moves faster than my other planars, and my subjective opinions are mirroring my measurements. Spectrogram and waterfall readings are better showing that slope in the treble. You can clearly see the driver movement in the waterfall reading. That double-sided magnet structure and that huge magnetic flux surely helped a lot in controlling that sub-micron thick diaphragm. I also compared them with the RZH Phobos, but since I don't want to make this video super long or boring, please check my written review below for that detailed comparison and my measurement analysis. Going on into the conclusion, as a headphone enthusiast, I'm always on the hunt for the next best thing. I do appreciate affordable hi-fi, and I do use affordable portable and desktop headphones on a daily basis. However, when I'm alone in my office and I know that this is my time to relax and be myself, that will be the time when I will choose to listen to some high-end headphones that will teleport me directly into my world, where I can be that angry metal singer, that wild, uncontrollable drummer, maybe that 7-string guitar player, or a conductor in front of an orchestra in front of me. If there is a headphone that makes me feel good, feel sad, that can make me cry or joyful or happy, then this is the perfect headphone for me. If you would know me personally, you would still not understand how much I am putting the emotion side of the music listening. It's almost like a religion to me. With LCD4, I just refuse to analyze my music, I just want to feel it, I just want to listen to it and be part of it. If this was the main mission of the team behind it, then mission is complete. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed my review. My full in-depth review is waiting on my website. In case you want to support this channel, please subscribe to it, and thank you for doing that. As usual, listen to my music, be positive, and I'll see you soon. Cheers guys, bye bye.